Lame poser metal chicks, get out of my scene.
You know what this is? This is the battle of red and black. The ultimate checkers battle. Should bitches be listening to brutal death metal? Jim Dempsey, a man who may or may not be a woman in drag, answers the question. But not before this word from our sponsor. This episode is sponsored by Jim Dempsey, who says, well, hi diddly hey, neighborino. Use promo code JIM for 15% off your next video. Alright. So, should these yappy whores be listening to brutal death metal? That is the question of this video. That's the theme of it, right? Like, is that going on the troll there, Phil? Yappy bitches? I like that one. So this kid makes a video, this redhead, and then this other kid, this black-haired kid, caught wind of it, and that's why I use that Stendhal reference, the red and the black, the ultimate checkers battle. And redhead's asking, what's up with all these women at the whatever bands are rehashing Leviticity shows that I'm seeing? I don't like it. And well, I guess someone passed word to Ugly Bangs, and she was like, yo, what the fuck? And I'd be like, that's what happens, bro. When you open your mouth in that exact way, woman is gonna be like, that's exactly what it's gonna be like. There are some things about this that need to be just drawn out. A lot of guys don't know how women think, or just, like, just don't know a lot about women. And maybe a lot of y'all just aren't necessarily great listeners. Not y'all, but, a lot of people just in general. But everyone that's lobbing the quick comments almost invariably going to have a piss poor take on it. Because they're going to be like, yo, you sound like an incel. And you look like one. And that's not what's going on here. If you actually analyze the argument of what the kid's saying, and he says it pretty explicitly, he's like, so I am into brutal death metal, stuff with very misogynistic themes, and a lot of like really unpleasant debasing of women kind of aesthetic. And I see women coming around of late, and I don't like it. And I'd be like, that's not because he doesn't like women. It's because he thinks that women shouldn't be debasing themselves, which actually says something complimentary about his idea of women, if you think about it. Which, let's be honest here, probably a lot of people commenting on it didn't, to that level at least. So, that's one thing that we got to get out of this, right? Like, the kid's expressing a different idea than what you're hearing, because you hear that and you're like, oh, well, that's just some, like, misogynist shit. You just don't like women, so you don't want to enjoy brutal death metal. And that's not what he's saying. What he's saying is much more like, this is thematically very off-brand for women kind of stuff, and I just don't understand. So he's got the cognitive dissonance, and he's, like... But then, plot twist, someone forwarded it to Ugly Bangs, and so I got some thoughts about this one. Now, not about the video. I didn't even watch her video because I'm like, I already know exactly what she's going to be saying. I'm sure it's a fun video and entertaining in its own right, but I know exactly what she's going to be saying. She's going to watch that guy's video and be like, yo, what the fuck? And then she's going to go off like a woman does. His video is 10 minutes and she spends 40 minutes on it, so I'll be like, just like a woman. I'm just saying. Now, here's the thing. Is he wrong? Well, that's actually a really interesting question. I don't know if I have an answer for that one. I'd be like, I understand the cognitive dissonance, but I'm like, I gotta be at least 20 years older than this kid, so you aren't used to seeing chicks at your shows, bro? Like, I swear, I grew up in Seattle, and I'm pretty sure the highest proportion, like, demographic-wise, in, like, a contained number of people, I'm pretty sure the highest proportion of them being lesbian that I've ever seen at any one place in one gathering would be when Carcass came around for a surgical steel. That was, like, between 30 and 50% lesbian couples in that audience that night. Not quite sure what the connection is, but I ain't gonna fault Carcass for it. Good work. I actually, yeah, my lesbian friend loves Carcass. She got into him through napalm because anarcho-punk kind of shit. I understand that kind of overlaps. Maybe that's a lot of it. Maybe it's like the vegetarian thing. Anyway, that was the upshot of Ginger's. Like, I'm just like, that's the relevant thing that I wanted to tease out of this is if you're calling him an incel or a misogynist for making that video, well, that's wrong. That's not the approach that he had, and so you're not wrong to attack him for expressing an opinion inarticulately, but you're not actually listening to what he means. You're just listening to what he said. That's still not how to listen, though. I'm just saying, this is how this works. Like, if you want to actually go at an advanced level, you can't just be like, this word, this word, this word. What you got to do is you got to keep track of those particular words that really caught in, and then you can, like, whip those out and dig them back. But if you're just saying, like, bro, you're an incel, like, or what have you, and maybe the chick actually had some much more reasoned and incisive commentary on it than that, I kind of doubt it. I imagine she was just going off like women do for 40 minutes about it. Why can't women listen to brutal death metal? And again, I'd be like, that's not really a question I'm even here to answer. I just kind of want to draw out the relevant things that I don't hear other people drawing out of such conversations as this. Finding the teachable moments and using them to edify in a hopefully entertaining manner. You like that? That's what we're trying to do here. Now, getting back to Ugly Bangs for 1 second, and I'm not just being a total asshole here. Yeah, she's a cute kid, right? But that haircut it brings to my mind something that's relevant to our discussion here, because I don't think that kid necessarily wears ugly bangs in the way that a lot of people in our millennial demographic probably associated to. Because there's this whole meme about women with bright colored hair and how it's like a toxicity thing. They're like expressing like, I hate men. I'd be like, this is the one time where I jump in on this whole theme of rebuttal. I'd be like, yo, if you're staying away from the brightly colored hair women, that's fine with me, because I'd be like, yeah, just get out of the way, dude. I ain't stressing on that. I'd be like, yo, you got some entertaining colored hair? That's totally fine. I'm down with that. I like a good hair dye. Is it a really good signifier for being, like, super crazy? Yeah, but whatever. You a fucking chicken? Now, all that said, I don't think this kid has the ugly bangs for the reason of having ugly bangs. I don't think it's one of those things where they're like, yeah, I'm intentionally making myself look ugly just to demonstrate my hatred of myself and of all mankind that I then project out to the rest of you. Which is, not gonna lie here, probably about 60 to 80% of the energy going in the Democratic Party in this present era. Women that don't like themselves and as a consequence deeply dislike you especially. Especially if you're like some just innocent kid being like, yo, what's up with all these bitches at like the Leviticity show? We're all here like to talk about chopping women up with chainsaws and like how we want to like stick our dicks into like holes that they don't have yet before we whip out the chainsaws. And now here come all these bitches like, ooh, I want to know in on this. Well, you gotta pay attention to culture outside of just your own little bubble, bro. True crime is huge. Why is true crime huge? It's a cultural thing. Does it say bad things about it? Do I think women, like, in a positive scenario, would be endeavoring to listen to brutal death metal? That's a little less dicey. At that point, I'd be like, yeah, okay, so it is saying some dark shit about our culture. And to me, what that really says is, yo, there's no underground, bro. I got some, like, skulls and pentagrams on my shirt. Did I just stumble out of a black metal mosh pit, or am I hanging out at a White Dudes for Kamala rally with a bunch of women that got really cool hair, but also will stab me in my sleep? Or in about 2 minutes. So that's what's going on with all that. Is people just they associate memes onto other people, and some of us are memes, yes, but most people are just doing their thing, right? Like the poor redhead kid. He didn't even know what he was sticking his sorry dick into. He thought it was a fresh chainsaw wound, and instead it turned out jokes on him. Actually, probably not. He probably got a lot of views out of that. And if he's a professional, he'll parlay that into something else and talk a lot more about the bitches. But I just wanted to talk about the haircut for this reason. I don't think it is one of those toxicity things where they're like, yeah, like, fuck you. I am an absolute, like, super hating kind of chick. I think it's the beauty standards of the day, because she's kind of cute, right? Like, she rocks it pretty well, right? Maybe it's a different effect without all the makeup, and maybe in public she's got a lot more of that just, like, stay the fuck back vibe. I don't know. I don't know these kids from shit, right? But I think it's just a little more of the beauty standard. Because you know what? Like, it's been a thing for so long now. Like, kids would have grown up seeing it and being like, oh, that's cool. I want to look like that. That's how this shit happens. That's relevant to our death metal thing, because kids grew up and this shit's just in the background. They didn't have to go and, like, dig in the fucking back ass end of the used record store to, like, just see what looked the goriest, right? Like, it's a lot more just out there and your fucking Guitar Hero and, in the movies and so forth. So, yeah, then they do their thing with it, and then you get brutal death metal. Anyway, that was my thoughts on it. Was largely just people are going to and have been and will continue to misinterpret what Ginger is saying about women and death metal. And, have I mentioned this yet? So, about the chick. I am all about edifying, enlightening, etc. This is a pro tip. I may have mentioned this once before, but it bears repeating if I haven't. Not everything that I send over to Phil gets posted anyways. But this is something for that chick. And, like, if anyone, has a connection, it's not a huge scene, right? Like, so, people know people who know people. So one should pass word along to this kid. If you're gonna thirst trap in a shoe like that, and cute shoes, by the way, but what you want to do, take that back strap there and just right under the heel, and just let that ankle right out. And I don't know what it is about that, but something about that levels your thirst trap up like about 5 full points, just right there. It's like wearing a sundress. Some things just make guys go like in a second, without explanation. It's a trigger. So that's something you should know. Next time I see you doing that, I want to see that full ankle. The other theme is the seam. If you don't have the seam going down the back of the leg, then the way you would do that is, put the front around. You got the seam right over the toe. Something about the seam in the hose, like it's like the sundress. Guys just. Now I want to clarify. Jim is a happily married man, and also swiping on Tinder for any of those brightly colored bitches. But little Ginger kid, he'll appreciate it. He'll probably start sending you fan letters. Be like, oh my god, what can I say to get you at my brutal death metal show? So that is my pro tip for the kids of today. You like this? Jim Dempsey's a fucking matchmaker. I'm gonna get these two kids together, and we're gonna see them making YouTube videos together on the internet, and they're just gonna be like, And then I'm gonna have to like get that blonde kid that her boyfriend guy, and we'll just be sitting here, two blonde douchebags next to each other, and you won't even be able to tell us apart, or at least I won't. I'll be like, we all look the same to me. You'll probably just be like, yeah, well, one of you's like 1,000 years old, and the other one looks exactly like the guy from Mayhem. But yeah, bring them back up, Phil. Let's do this here. Red and black, ginger and ugly bangs. Like, is that not a match made in heaven? Am I not a genius here? Let's do this. In fact, let's crowdfund their first date, and I will provide aesthetic tips for the guy. Like, you seen what I did for the chick, right? Like, I just leveled your game up a bunch, babe. So you don't even need to thank me. That's just something I do. But for the guy, I'll give you the pro tips. Number one, let's get you a Rush shirt. She'll love it. And we got to talk about the posters on the wall. But DM me, kid. I'll get your dick wet. Jim Dempsey, doing the good work for mankind, and dipping out.